Democrats are trying to rebuild the party following the devastating 2024 elections for them. And we've learned that from our colleagues Amy Parnes and Hannah Trudeau that donors have turned the faucet off, essentially, for Democrats. How are Democrats reforming the party and addressing the concerns of donors?
They first seem like they're trying to still gather the pieces of what happened in November. We hear so often about this autopsy that happens after elections. And sure, it's a trite saying, but it really is true. Democrats are going to have to do some soul searching and figure out what went wrong in November and how do they prevent that from happening again. These donors are not going to want to put millions of dollars into an effort and a group that doesn't have a clear vision and a clear plan of how to make good on that money 2 years later, 4 years later. So I think that Democrats are going to have to still pick up the pieces, figure out what their new plan of action is, and go ahead and execute it. And by the way, figure out who's going to be that top person to execute it. It's this question we've still been hearing about. Who is the face of the Democratic Party? Lawmakers on Capitol Hill who I speak to are still trying to figure that out. I think that once they have that vision and that plan, the faucet may turn on after that.
The Democrats are in complete disarray. There is no party leadership. And of course, Donald Trump is maintaining his popularity after being in office for over a month. And as you can see over here, from left-leaning Morning Consult, Donald Trump is above water on all of the major topics, right? Plus 18 on immigration, plus 17 on national security, plus 12 on the national debt. And of course, the list goes on and on until you get down to LGBTQ rights and abortion, right? The only winning issues the Democrats have, but as was proven in the last election, it didn't really matter that much, right? What mattered most was the wide open border, your pocketbook, and how crazy the left has become and taking over the Democrat Party, okay? But someone who recognizes this problem, as well as the Democrat donors in general, is of course Stephen A. Smith. So before we get to these clips, don't forget to like and comment on this video so we can break through the algorithms. Here we go.
It's important to point out that the Democratic Party looks a bit discombobulated. Yes, you want to get on Trump. You want to point out Elon Musk and what he's doing with DOGE. You want to point out Trump and how erratic he appears at times. You saw Leader Jeffries bringing up everything from the economy and inflation and the cost of living to Trump's relationship with Putin, to Trump taking the position that he's taken against Zelensky, etc. You've seen and heard all of this stuff. You heard his concerns about Medicare and Medicaid, along with a bevy of other things. If you are the Democrats, stick to those issues and stick to attacking Trump on the issues, as opposed to bringing up the 2020 election, as opposed to bringing up, comments about, being a king and all of this other stuff that you're trying to use. It falls in line with the same old stuff you were bloviating about during the campaign. It's not going to work. What you're going to have to do is illustrate in very, very conspicuous fashion the flaws in his plans for America, how it works against your interest, and how what you're proposing will work for your interest. It's not enough anymore to engage in demagoguery about the other side. What are you going to do? And how are you going to convince us to believe you? You first got to find somebody that's worth believing. And I'm not denigrating Leader Jeffries in any way. But when you think about a national voice for the party, who is that person? It's non-existent right now. Mr. Carville, I said it again. It's non-existent right now. Not the talent. You might have talent, but who's going to resonate? You better find somebody. You better find somebody soon.
So this is exactly something I've been saying for quite some time. The Democrats have no bench. Who is the next in line? Who's the party leader? Because right now, who do you have? Hochul in New York, Whitmer in Michigan, Newsom in California. These are not people that are widely liked across the nation, right? They win elections in their leftist cities, but there's no way that's going to fly, especially after the messes they've created in their own cities, okay? And I even saw a poll the other day that Kamala Harris is still the front runner for the 2028 election by like 20 points, all right? There there is no bench. There's no one the Democrats can rely on. And I guess the donors are starting to realize that. It's all drying up. Why would they throw more good money away when their last candidate, Kamala Harris, who was widely loved by all of the pop stars, by all of the Hollywood elites, by all of the leftist Democrats, right? She was widely beloved, and she still lost despite having 99% positive coverage in the media because they couldn't keep her ineptitude secret any longer. But of course, Stephen A. Smith also doesn't quite understand that the very things he's saying to attack Donald Trump over, like the DOGE department and Elon Musk, are the very same things that are popular with the American people. And the left is still trying to say that it's unfair of Elon Musk to actually hold these federal workers accountable.
But if they did it surgically, if they did it strategically, if they did it deliberately and thoughtfully, I don't think anybody would have an issue with cutting some government waste, with identifying programs that are not working. But the way they are doing it is haphazard, it is dangerous, it is frankly abusive of federal workers, and it is just plain wrong.
And it's random. It's abusive. It's random.
It's abusive.
Yes, I do think that. I think the way that they are. Yeah, I think the way that they are treating them.
Why? How is this abusive?
Scott, have you ever gotten an email from someone that said, you better do this or else you're going to resign?
Yeah, it's called having a boss in the private sector.
From someone who's not your boss?
The White House is every federal worker's boss. That's number one.
Elon Musk is not anybody's boss.
Scott, how is Elon going to evaluate? I mean, how is he going to evaluate the work of thousands of federal employees when he has no idea what
he's not? The test was, are you even paying attention to your email? Are you even at your terminal?
Some federal workers, he sent it on a weekend. Some federal workers do not have access to their emails on the weekends. They just don't.
Did they go to work today? I mean, look, the amount of outrage, melting down, and sort of outpouring of emotion over this ought to tell you everything you need to know. We had a lady on CNN today, a supposed federal worker, who said she was infuriated by getting this email. She had time to go on CNN, but she didn't have time to send a 30-second email saying, well, here's what I was working on last week. This is what people in the private sector have come to hate about how they view the public sector. And I think there's a great many very dedicated public servants. But you said, it's about control. Yes, it's about control, and it's about finding out who is actually at their job working and who isn't, and do we need all these people?
How does sending this email actually determine who's actually doing their job?
Did you answer?
No, but seriously, okay.
So these poor federal employees, right, who didn't have to show up for work, still getting full salaries, and are now being asked to reply with 5 things they actually did last week? Oh, heaven forbid, all right? And I love how Elon Musk is actually finding these different ways, these creative ways to see who's actually paying attention to what they're supposed to be doing. Just simply reply to the email. Let us know what's going on, right? Are you actually working, right? But of course, this is all very unfair. You can't actually ask federal employees to reply to emails and list what they actually are responsible for. And I love how they keep trying to say that Elon Musk is not anyone's boss. Yeah, but Donald Trump is, and he put Elon Musk in charge of finding the waste, the fraud, and the abuse. And a lot of that could be the federal employees. So guess what? The chain of command is still intact. It's going right on up to someone who can actually fire all of these workers.
I mean, it's not unreasonable to say, look, you work for the federal government. Here's the email we have on record for you. We've requested a response, and you haven't answered twice. I mean, what's wrong with that? The rational person would say, yeah, this is not okay. And
they're being told not to respond by some of their employers, though. Does that make a difference?
No, it doesn't. I don't think that many people are that worried about this because no one's ever tested this before. You've got billions of dollars going out to hundreds of people, thousands, tens of thousands of people, and nobody knows if they're A, alive, B, working, where are they, what are they doing? There's nothing wrong with this request. In the private sector, I do this every day. I ask, what are you doing? Where are you? I mean, are you alive? This is not unreasonable. The average person doesn't think this is unreasonable. So at the end of the day, okay, Elon Musk is controversial. I got it. And this whole DOGE things, it's come on the scene and it's very electric and controversial. I got it. But if you're not working and nobody can contact you, What's wrong with asking?
And that, of course, is the important point. Your average American, your normal worker understands that this is perfectly legit, right? Your boss always wants to know that you're being productive. You're actually doing the job you've been hired to do, all right? This is just simple oversight. But the federal employees have been protected from this for so long, it's allowed them to leech off the system and never lose their job. And that, of course, is part of the waste and fraud we're trying to stop and that Elon Musk and Donald Trump are uncovering. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and say hi to your mom for me.